Happening today, singer David due back in court for what could be the last day of his preliminary hearing on murder charges.
I feel like we've said that the last few days, but it is day 5 of the preliminary hearing scheduled to resume this morning. And more evidence or testimony could be introduced. Prosecutors are trying to prove they have enough evidence to send the case to trial. David Burke is accused of killing 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez after the two allegedly had a sexual relationship. Last week, investigators said Hernandez was pregnant and had an abortion before she was killed. Her body was found in the singer's Tesla last September.
And attorney Rachel Fiset is joining us again. Rachel, thank you for being back with us.
Good morning.
Yeah, so what needs to be accomplished today for the judge to finally make a decision here?
I think they are going to likely wrap it up today. The detective will take the stand, most likely, that was giving all of the testimony on Friday. He was talking about their text messages, explicit photos exchanged before them, an abortion, their communications relating to their sexual relationship, pretty detailed discussions from David's phone. We also heard from the medical examiner about the autopsy on Friday. I think they are going to wrap it up. I think there is some small holes they might try to fill today, meaning to show that David knew he was being investigated regarding their relationship. I think they might get into that. That has not been heavily discussed. They have certainly established the relationship between these two, and there is certainly enough evidence on the DNA and the various chainsaws and tools and what different types of things showing what would be a cover-up of the murder. So I think they have met their burden to take this to trial, and now it's just getting a little bit repetitive in ways that are showing just the gruesome details of the relationship.
Yeah, I was saying to Sheba before the show that I feel like the longer this goes on, prosecutors could potentially end up hurting themselves maybe down the line. I don't know how you feel about that, but as more forensic testimony seems to come in, there are some gaps that are starting here, for prosecutors. For example, there's limitations because of the body going through decomposition. There's evidence that couldn't be tested here. How do prosecutors deal with those gaps, and what are your thoughts as this kind of drags on?
I agree with you. I think they've met their burden now, and there are gaps, and as this keeps going, they are starting to show. The medical examiner definitely had gaps in the testimony because of the decomposing body. I think one of the biggest gaps that the defense is going to hone in on at trial is that it seems still unclear the day she was murdered. While they have digital evidence that would point to one day, I don't think the medical examiner is confirming that date. And that seems to be what we would see as the biggest hole in this, would be the time of her death. And I don't think they can clear that up during this preliminary hearing, nor will they be able to do so as it goes. So that's going to likely end up a jury question.
All right, very interesting. Also, this case has gotten so much public attention. How do attorneys work to make sure a client still gets a fair trial when there's been so much media coverage and it's a case that everybody is invested in and has an opinion on?
It seems likely that his attorneys will request that this trial not happen in Los Angeles because of the media attention. I don't think that will be the case. I think it will remain here, and it will just be heavy questioning of the jury that they are not seeing bias, frankly, on either side of this case based on their feelings for a celebrity and the media attention it gets. But it's going to be difficult. Any juror that is involved in this trial as it goes will see basically the media circus in a way when they get to court every day. So this is certainly going to be high profile. The facts are salacious. They are gruesome. People are interested, and it will be difficult, but it is the judge's job to ensure that people are proceeding without bias as they go to trial.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, where do you see the biggest opportunities for the defense to create reasonable doubt here?
I think it's time of death. I really do. I think that they are having a difficult time establishing when she was killed because of the body, and then the decomposition of the body, it becomes a little more difficult to establish how she was killed. They have certainly said she was stabbed with an object and bled out, but they can't get deeper and deeper into proving that with forensic testimony based on her autopsy because of the decomposition. So I think that's where the defense is going to lock in, which is manner and cause of death.
Okay, Rachel Fiset, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.